Reddit, the so-called front page of the internet or heart of the internet, is a publicly traded company with the stock ticker symbol RDDT. Its long-term plans involve advertising, data licensing for training AI models, and a user marketplace. Exploring these three main elements of Reddit's business plans provide greater detail about Reddit's distinct characteristics compared to other social media platforms, while at the same time revealing more about the state of online advertising and the broader relationships that connect: AI, user data, user-generated content, and privacy awareness. Reddit has several distinguishing features that help differentiate it enough for advertisers to consider them as an alternative to other social media platforms and other advertising channels such as search engines. These advantageous features revolve around the platform's user base having high purchase intent in an organic and engaged context that is receptive to interest-based advertising. In other words, marketers can reach relevant audiences using tools like Reddit's interest graph in contextually relevant communities and content, using conversational and engaging formats that differentiate the platform enough for advertisers to consider it as an alternative or additional option in their advertising campaigns. Regardless of whether a potential customer is searching for initial recommendations or asking for advice that will steer them to their final purchasing decision. To unpack that heap of marketing buzzwords, it will be helpful to outline what makes Reddit the platform it is and why this platform claims to be uniquely positioned. In short, Reddit is a collection of communities that are also called subreddits, each of which are based around specific topics. It is likened to a global city where Reddit users, who are called Redditors, can be part of multiple subreddits and even create their own. Within the thousands of communities that comprise the platform, Redditors learn from each other through organic conversations during their exploration and research of passions and interests. After written conversations on threads with posts and comments, the primary means of interaction among Redditors are upvoting or downvoting, uploaded images and videos, and submitted links. Then alongside user interaction and content submission, there is the aspect of Redditors moderating their subreddits. Moderators are essentially users within communities who volunteer to help keep them, in the words of Reddit, safe, vibrant, and true to themselves. Put another way, moderators ensure their subreddits retain engagement and interaction by maintaining and facilitating relevant and civilized discussion. Moderators are certainly a vital part of running Reddit, but similar to the role of hosts on Airbnb, they are not directly controlled by Reddit as employees or contractors. That is why a lack of quality and quantity of moderators is a concern the platform is constantly vigilant of, particularly as the platform grows in scale, or during times when certain subreddits receive a large influx of traffic. That is why it will be important for users to be incentivized to become moderators who are provided with sufficient support and adequate tools to sustain their subreddits. It is also imperative to maintain a working relationship with moderators to avoid situations similar to what took place in June 2023, when, as Reddit described, moderators of certain communities inhibited normal operations of the communities they operate in response to API policy changes. Reddit further states the role of moderation is so that newly created subreddits create a sense of belonging for their members, spurring the creation of more new subreddits to continue the cycle. In this way, Reddit's community ecosystem grows and expands with the interests and passions of their users, keeping Reddit on trend and resilient to fading fads, a kind of growth and adaptation that keeps brand awareness lively. This so-called ecosystem is said to be organically built upon shared interests, passions, and trust, rather than friends, celebrities, and their followers, resulting in a unique sense of belonging, privacy, and authenticity for Redditors. The reasoning for these claims is because users aren't required to divulge their identities to the detailed extent of other platforms on social media. While it is true that less personally identifiable information is collected about users in the sign-up process and through the regular use of Reddit compared to other major social media platforms, there is still a certain degree of data collection which the company is responsible for. One could also argue it is technically possible to build platforms with even less invasive privacy than Reddit, and that other social media platforms can be used with false details at sign-up combined with disabling most trackers and using dedicated devices for social media, though this would be inconvenient and impractical for the average user. Leading us to the main point here, Reddit isn't about absolute privacy and anonymity, nor do they explicitly state that is the case or that it is possible. The point is, Redditors as a collective group are satisfied with the level of privacy they have and/or perceive, allowing for content and interaction to be added to the platform with a sense of trust and safety at scale, ultimately leading to Reddit offering different use cases compared to other platforms. In other words, the audience and user base are on Reddit for different purposes compared to other platforms. Primarily, conversation over content consumption. Moreover, unlike other platforms, communication isn't restricted to private groups or direct messaging to have individual conversations. Instead, Redditors on subreddits feel free to express themselves and ask questions and even be vulnerable with minimal constraints. Where discussion is for the most part publicly accessible, with some subreddits having discussions on sensitive issues such as social support and mental health. So while conversations can of course take place elsewhere, the combination of the size of the user base, public accessibility, and perceived adequate privacy are enough to differentiate Reddit. The content found in Reddit communities is curated by people, which attracts users to the platform based on organic relevance. A key reason behind this is because every post and comment on Reddit, regardless of the author, starts with one upvote and must earn its visibility through community members upvoting it and boosting it to the subreddit's front page. Unlike traditional social media, voting, both up and down, is completely anonymous, encouraging broader Redditor participation. The company states this upvoting and downvoting system not only curates the quality and relevance of content, but also determines the prominence of a certain piece of content. Because of this, Reddit believes their community-driven promotion of content leads to greater trust of the content on Reddit, as opposed to the more common approach heavily relying on algorithms, giving people a feeling of authenticity and assurance that any content that gains traction on Reddit has been reviewed in context by humans, a welcome touch in the increasingly AI-driven landscape. Users also feel they can contribute their input and have an impact on the way their communities are run, to an extent within Reddit's site-wide content policy. A related differentiating aspect centers on trust in the context of the advice, recommendations, and feedback for products and services. A digital word-of-mouth advantage, if you will. After all, sales aren't just driven by brands. People often gravitate towards their final purchasing decision based on what they learn from others, specifically other people they trust. To be more exact, the opinions of those who they know and or trust, and of course experts and fellow enthusiasts, those who know what they're talking about. Since Reddit has ticked those boxes time and time again for people around the world, the platform became a preferred choice for researching answers to questions that are obscure or need an explanation beyond a simple paragraph, or when people seek recommendations with the intent to purchase something. Research can of course be done through other sources of information. Reddit is simply another resource that balances quantity and quality of information provided by real people that is available to the average person. That being said, Reddit, like other platforms, is still susceptible to changes in internet search engine algorithms, resulting in limiting and reducing traffic directed by search engines. This is particularly pertinent as a risk factor for drawing in new users. Negative modifications to search engines affecting traffic towards Reddit could be inadvertent or be intentional efforts to favor results that are preferable for particular search engines. It is interesting to mention highlights from surveys of Redditors conducted by Reddit. They found 83% of respondents recognize conversations on Reddit as more on topic than anywhere else on social media, while perceptions of 76% of respondents pay more attention to things they see on Reddit than the things they see on other social media platforms, mainly because of the perception people post things that are honest and truthful on Reddit. Similarly, a separate survey reported 75% of respondents said they believe Reddit is a trustworthy place to inform their decision to buy a new product. Quite useful for advertisers, since an average of 14 personalized responses were given each time a user asked for a recommendation, and respondents were likely to follow advice from recommendations. Then not too surprising, Redditors ranked reading comments as their top task to complete, reiterating the distinction from most major social media platforms, where consuming content served by algorithms is front and center instead. So it's not too shocking Comscore data reports many Redditors are not active on traditional social media platforms. Reddit states the performance of their advertising model is based on first-party data from user-directed activities on the platform, such as the communities that users visit or subscribe to for email digests and the context they are engaging in. Meaning their context and interest-based approach provides certain benefits, as opposed to tracking users based on personally identifiable information. Essentially, Reddit claims their lack of reliance on third-party data makes them more resilient to the loss of, quote, signal that other platforms rely upon, as well as forthcoming changes to the internet ecosystem, referring to the shift towards more extensive privacy policies across all aspects of online activities, such as the restrictive use of cookies and compliance with the European Union General Data Protection Regulation, the EU GDPR, and the United Kingdom General Data Protection Regulation, the UK GDPR, along with many changes to user data collection and protection that have already been discussed in the video about Instacart. Although Reddit could be considered better in some aspects of user privacy, remember they still collect data and tracking to varying degrees is still part of the way they operate, since they plan to improve measurement for conversion. By utilizing their conversion API, on-property brand and conversion lift testing, and measurement pixel toolkit to name just a few conversion measurement tools. Reddit also admits their tools may be less developed than those of other platforms that they compete with for advertising clients, since competitors often collect more user data, which is bad for privacy, but good for enabling the development of more accurate advertising campaign measuring tools. Further adaptations being made relate back to Reddit's site-wide content policy and the increasing demand of advertisers who want to avoid having their ads placed on inappropriate content for their targeted audiences. Meaning the platform will continue to focus on, quote, proactive solutions focused on creating a safe environment for any business on Reddit by showing ads in communities and alongside content that has been reviewed and deemed appropriate for advertising. Increasing the effectiveness of ads has overlap with matching appropriate ads with appropriate content and audiences. Reddit specifically states they are in the early stages of using machine learning and prediction models to better match supply and demand in order to deliver better return on investment for their advertisers. Some of the principal areas their prediction models focus on are ad placements and formats, and helping to better predict conversion rates of an ad. It has been specifically noted machine learning models are used to accomplish contextual keyword audience reach and interest-based audience reach, ranking ads based on brand suitability and machine learning predicted user engagement. Machine learning is also utilized to help advertisers reduce manual testing by employing auto-bidding models designed for maximum clicks and maximum conversions. The overall direction of advertising on Reddit leans towards more automation to improve accessibility, efficiency, and cost-effectiveness for small, medium, and large businesses alike. In addition, adjustments are made in response to evolving consumer behaviors, such as the rise of video and search, leading to more options for ads in those formats, presented in ways that allow advertisers to reach and engage with Redditors in more flexible and natural ways. In turn, these initiatives are also meant to increase the types, sizes, and geographies of advertisers that choose to advertise on Reddit, as well as reach and expand annual partnerships for longer-term visibility. Improving advertising infrastructure is also meant to develop advertising around interests such as automotive, retail, consumer packaged goods, pharmaceuticals, and food and beverage, while still advancing advertisers in popular community categories such as business, legal, finance, media, entertainment, technology, and communications. During the rollout of more advertising, Reddit, like other advertising providers, needs to be careful in maintaining a balance between serving the interests of advertisers and Redditors. Ads need to be integrated with minimal intrusiveness and be helpful, or at least not deliver negative experiences, while simultaneously accomplishing more conversions and generating more awareness for advertisers. Now, when talking about Reddit and AI beyond topics directly related to advertising, we have to remember the data that is selected to train AI is a crucial part of how it develops and how well it works. Reddit states they have a massive corpus of conversational data and knowledge, which have been a foundational part of how many of the leading large language models, LLMs, have been trained. Not too surprising, given the nature of the platform we just covered. Despite the potential, Reddit states they are still in the early stages of allowing third parties to license access to search, analyze, and display historical and real-time data from their platform. Data API access is one method outlined in the plan to license data and intellectual property, whereby customers can pay to access real-time data streams of anonymous public discussion on Reddit via data APIs once they exceed certain rate limits. These data APIs are reported to provide real-time access to evolving and dynamic topics, such as sports, movies, news, fashion, and the latest trends, allowing customers to apply data for uses like building third-party applications, behavioral analysis, and algorithmic trading. The company also uses internally built and trained models to improve aspects of Reddit such as user onboarding, content translation, moderation, and safety. Many of the defining features of Reddit relating to organic content, interaction, and growth are what they believe make them a unique source of data to train AI. One that is expected to keep expanding with more Redditor input into the ecosystem, with constantly updated user-generated content that encompasses human experiences, answers, and conversations that contribute to the influence, scale, and longevity of Reddit's data sustaining relevance, since subreddits emerge and adapt in response to the latest events. Indeed, there is potential for Reddit to branch out with licensing its data to train and refine AI. However, these kinds of business models that handle data as a product always carry risks related to the possibility of being implicated or even held liable for misuse of data from problematic activities customers may use data for. Then the company also admits, due to the open nature of their platform's data, AI models have been trained using Reddit data without licensing permission. This can continue in the future and presents a challenge to enforce. Now on the subject of the third part of Reddit's plans relating to commerce in the form of community-based marketplaces. These markets have arisen organically from exchanges within subreddits, where Redditors can exchange goods that range from watches and sneakers to developers selling video games, as well as services such as the ones on the subreddit r/Photoshop request, where users can request Photoshop services for payment. Their goal is to develop the user-powered economy on Reddit by developing the necessary infrastructure to facilitate markets at a level that can provide them with extra monetization to become less reliant on just advertising. In terms of benefits for Redditors, it has been noted attention is focused on increasing the types of ways that users can recognize contributors with real-world money to incentivize and reward quality content creation. Growth strategies for this and the other two segments of their plans are driven by the assertion that Reddit has high enough gross margin and operates with sufficient capital efficiency to scale what they deem to be simple business models. In order to implement their plans, Reddit has already outlined the strategies they will focus on. This includes a drive to use methods like search engine optimization and partnerships to cover more situations that can make people aware of Reddit. In terms of existing users, they intend to increase engagement to convert more weekly and monthly users into daily users. To achieve this, investment has been directed at communities being engaged through more video and efforts to enable users to reach more, quote, vibrant conversations. In more concrete terms, more quality conversations are going to emerge by reducing the time it takes for users to access conversations and providing better guidance on community rules when they comment to reduce moderated actions. Attention will also focus on making it easier for existing Redditors to discover relevant communities and content by applying machine learning to improve content classification and interest-based recommendations. Improvements to user discovery extend to improving search results on Reddit. Search is mentioned as a key action frequently done by Redditors, yet it is described as still in the early innings. The vision is for search to become even more relevant and drive deeper engagement, especially since search has been found to be a central reason why new users go to Reddit and return within 8 to 14 days after first accessing Reddit. Search queries, post topics, and engagement with similar users are all noted to be factors that determine how AI recommends relevant posts and communities, as well as contributing to how content is selected for new home feed rankings, with significantly more data and user signals. AI will also be a driving force behind plans to seize opportunities and grow in regions outside the United States and in languages beyond English. Some of the places Reddit has set its sights on are the UK, France, Spain, Germany, Brazil, and India. International growth strategies are centered around offering users culturally relevant and location-specific content that will be achieved with content that has gone through machine translation models, along with tools such as the Community tab and more push notifications to help international users find and engage regularly with locally relevant and trending content. It will be interesting to watch how Reddit fares in refining its capabilities for advertisers and its efforts to branch out into other revenue streams with the use of data, AI, and their community-powered marketplace, all of which are likely to be discussed thoroughly on Reddit as they develop. For more coverage of companies, please follow Ascencore and check out some other videos while you wait for the next upload coming soon. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.